recording.
Okay.
Jake, good buddy, old pal, former desk buddy.
Yeah.
I'm excited for this. This is our first of 6 different kinds of episodes than we've ever done on the podcast.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. So I mean, we talked a little bit on the panel episode about your topic today, but do you want to give a quick overview and then we can just dive in?
For sure. Yeah. So on the panel, I talked a little bit about like some of the steps that you need to take when doing a business plan. And like those, like that's the thing is like with every different, with everybody, with every different.
I'm going to pause you. Are you working?
Yeah. Sorry. I'm turning my notifications off right now.
Oh, no, you're good. I
Sorry,
might
that's
have a
my
start
bad.
over. No, you're fine. I'll just have a start over too because I didn't really care for my intro.
I'm getting blown up right now on freaking Slack for some reason. Okay, those are all paused.
Okay.
Don't you just go to do not disturb, right? And
Yeah.
just put it on. Okay, yeah, We're good now. Sorry, that's my bad. I didn't think of that one.
No, you're fine, and I forgot to remind you. And
Okay.
and actually, I needed to pull up your outline too. So, okay,
Cool.
we'll just start over.
Okay.
Jake Gokritz, good to see your bearded face. I know listeners won't be able to see the mighty beard, but if you want to head to YouTube, there for your viewing privileges.
I use a great barber.
There you go.
It's the man's pedicure is going to the barber and having him do your beard. It's kind of
right.
Cool. I enjoy it actually.
My husband's all about it too. But I'm excited for this episode. This is our first of 6 unique episodes that we're going to launch all at the same time in an effort to help people, mobilize people almost, give them the tools, resources, ideas, logistics, strategery. Oh boy. Strategy.
Yeah, there you go.
That you need to launch a business in 3 days. And we're starting with you. You want to take it away?
I'm super happy to be here again. For those that maybe didn't hear like the overview, my name is Jake Gokritz. I am over vertical marketing at Weave. I have actually been in marketing for 10 years now, mostly digitally. I've started to work more into the strategy as of lately. Fun fact, I actually was going to school to be a child therapist.
Stop. I didn't know that.
Yeah. And I actually, this is kind of a funny, but the reason why I didn't is because we got pregnant and we're having a child. So my degree's in psychology, my minor's in marketing. And I decided like, you know, if I can't go into child therapy, I really enjoy marketing. So I went and got my minor. And my very first job was an SEO manager. And this was back when like SEO was getting big. And I remember in my first interview, the interviewer goes, "Do you know what SEO stands for?" And I legitimately just had to say, I don't know what SEO stands for. So I learned that day that SEO stands for search engine optimization. And I ended up luckily.
And you'll never forget it.
No, I will never forget that again. That just goes to show how much research you need to do. And I'm going to actually talk about that because that's a big portion of a business plan. But that is to this day one of my blunders that I have to share when I talk.
Most embarrassing moments.
Yeah.
Brought to you by Jake Gokritz.
It was bad. It was so bad.
Oh goodness, that's hilarious. Especially like given the fact that you're a professional marketer right now, not only for an organization, but with a side business.
Yeah, I know. I've been doing my like own marketing company, Buffalo Digital Marketing, for like, I think I'm 7 years now. And so it's just funny. It's when I tell people that and like that I'm in online marketing and stuff, they just die.
Oh my gosh, so I love it. I
had to get that out there in the open. It's like something that I'm coping with. So.
You're making up for it now.
Yeah, trying to. But so in the roundtable episode, I kind of touched on some points that you really need when you create a business plan. I think that it's super important to hit certain topics. when you're creating a business plan and you're starting on a business and trying to get it going. And so, yeah, like I have 6 things that I wanted to go over with some subtasks within those points with the listeners. And I really hope that they take away some awesome points from this and really dive into what I have to talk about.
Yeah. Let's hear it. Your first one is creating your why, right?
Yeah. So creating your why is super important. I kind of touched on this in the roundtable episode, but if you didn't hear about it, I want to kind of cover it again. The reason why people create companies is because they feel like they found something that can change people, like change industry or change somebody's pain point. And if you don't have a why or a passion behind that, aka passion, a why equals aka passion. If you don't have that, then when it gets difficult or when it gets hard, you don't have that thing in the back of your mind that's pushing you. And there's a lot of books out there that talk about the why.
Right. And really quick, like if you don't, let's say you have a why and you get to those moments, but you don't remember it, your why is not strong enough, right?
Yeah. No, it's not. I mean, that's the thing is like, I think that every business owner really needs to sit down and they really need to like see like, what is the reason why I'm doing this?
Yeah.
Do I feel like I have the passion that's going to push me through? And do I have the strength? Like being a small business owner, a new business owner is not like you talk to any founder. You talk to Brandon from Weave. He went through some really tough times to the point where Weave almost wasn't around. Like there was some really hard times. I've sat down and had conversations with him about it because I've been super interested. I started my own business at one point and I did not have a why. Like we started this diaper bag company that, we thought was a great idea. It got a patent, all these different things. And it kind of fizzled out because my passion was not in diaper bags. My passion is helping, small business owners. My dad, he escaped from Germany when he was 16 out of East Germany. And he started his own small business. He started a mechanic shop and he ran that for 50 years. And I look back and I see the things that Weave offers. If he could have had those things, it would have been a game changer for him. Like to be able to communicate with people on a continuous basis or take contactless payments.
Yeah.
So for him, that why was he wanted to have the American dream. He wanted to be an American business owner. And I respect him for doing that. And he made it through the hard times and he taught, me how to work hard and really understand what is your driver? What is your passion? So that is why like number one for me is you got to be really like, you got to be really straight with yourself and you got to figure out exactly what is your passion, what is your drive, and why do you want to get into this business?
Yeah. Do you have any suggestions of, and I say this because personal experience, it's hard for me to articulate why I do want to do things. Most recently, we're going to get a little vulnerable here. I hired a physical coach and she was trying to help me get at that as well. She's like, Casey, you need to find a why that is so deep and so powerful that when you want to give up, all you have to do is remember that and that temptation is gone or whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that was really hard for me to find a why that resonated with me and stuck with me. I honestly don't know that I could still reiterate it, well.
Yeah.
That's a little different than having a why behind creating a business. But do you have any suggestions for thought exercises, more specific questions? I mean, there's the whole Toyota 5 whys. Ask yourself why 5 times and you'll get to the root of your actual why. But do you have any other suggestions or things people can do to really uncover that?
I honestly believe that it's sitting down and just thinking about what is your product, right? Like what am I offering? And for me, like I look at what I enjoy, right? I enjoy sports, I enjoy the outdoors, but I enjoy helping people. So for me, Weave is a great fit because that is what my personality is. And for me, like as you are a small business owner, I think that that's a way that you sit down and you say, what is my personality? Does my personality fit what I'm trying to do?
Yeah.
And like if your personality fits in what you're trying to do, it's going to be that much easier every day to wake up and work 8 to 10 hours on a business,
Yeah.
and really put in that grinding work that comes with starting something. Like I mean, everybody just, I like going to the gym, right? So so like for Corona, right? Like everybody had to take a break from the gym. I was doing like 3-pound weights that were my wife's, in our garage, and it like nothing. Like I probably should have got like a gallon of milk and used that. It would have been more, but like going back to the gym was so difficult. But that's the thing, like my personality is I enjoy being active and physical. So it wasn't difficult for me to get going again and putting in that work. And it's the same with business. Like, what is your personality? Does your personality fit what you're selling? If you're an outdoor sports guy and you're trying to sell, dev technology, is it something that your personality is going to enjoy being a part of? So that would be what I would say is like
It
a
helps you
good
dig
way
deep.
to kind of like look at your why.
Got it. Hey, next one.
Yeah. So the next one is mentor. Number 2, I think, is a really big one. I have actually, that was one of the things that I really had to learn as I grew in my job, is you need to have mentors that have been there and done that. There's actually a really great video from our Business Growth Summit on Weave's website from Andrew Smith. And he talks a lot about that. He talks a lot about like, it's like 20 years of advice from a CEO. I think that's what it's called. But he goes over how having a mentor is a necessity. You need to have somebody who's been there and done that so they can help walk you through the situations that you're going to face and the decisions that you're going to need to make. So having a mentor going into your business, creating that business plan, that is super important because they're going to be the ones that you call when you have an issue, or you call when you have a question because you're not quite sure about, what you should or should not do. And so they're going to be the ones that are really awesome in helping you to get through things that you're not sure of. Because I'll tell you right now, you're not going to be 100% sure of everything. You won't. This is all brand new territory, and each step is a new step. And I can tell you right now, the why is huge, but that will push you through the hard times. But a mentor is going to push you through the intellectual times, like needing to know certain things that you need to remember, or, take advantage of, or don't forget, this. So mentor is number 2 for me, because you create that why, but then that mentor is what really helps to drive you in making the right decisions and less missteps. There was a quote that I have remembered that since I saw on a plaque from, junior high days, but it was, wise men learn from their mistakes, but wiser men learn from others.
I love
And
that.
that's exactly what a mentor is wiser men learn from others' mistakes. Let that mentor make those mistakes for you, and have multiple, have 3, 4, 5, like however many you want to have, but let them make those mistakes, and then you thrive from the knowledge that they can give you.
Yeah, I think it's important to know, and maybe again, I'm bringing this up because it's been prevalent in my personal life, but that asking for a mentor or asking someone to mentor you don't necessarily always have to bring something to the table for them. but that rather them mentoring you could be the thing that you're bringing to the table. There could be the fact that you're reinvigorating them with energy and excitement.
Yeah.
Or maybe it ends up being that they join you in this venture or whatever it might be, but not overthinking it and not letting that be a barrier to you asking.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think that in my experience, I reached out to a guy on LinkedIn that I super respected. Just like much higher level to me. He was somebody that I knew could really help me grow. And I was super nervous. I didn't think that he would give me the time of day. I didn't think that like there would be a scenario where he would want to be my mentor. But after we got talking, and I asked him, I got the courage to ask him. He was super amazing about it. He told me, yeah, I would love to help you out. That is the one thing about people who have experience is they do like, they want to share that experience. They want to level up people and really help them to grow in their careers. And so that I have never once had somebody who I've just kind of like asked to give, to be kind of a mentor to me ever say no. And I've had that conversation with 3 or 4 people now. And they've all been just amazing. And anytime I have a question, I'll text or call them and they will be super like generous about giving me information, giving me links to go to, stuff like that. So do not be worried about it. No. They are more than happy to always help out when they possibly can.
Yep. I couldn't agree more. Awesome. Your third one is
research. Sorry, I thought you were going to say it there.
No, you're fine. I didn't want to steal your thunder. I know I've got your notes.
Research.
But this is a big one that you even referenced on the panel. And there are lots of things to research, but what specifically, and at this stage, once someone has an idea and they're really serious about starting their business, what are the first bits of research they need to work on?
Yeah, RESEACH, research, right? Like get respect out of there, put research in there, it fits perfectly. But but yeah, research for me when you're starting a new business is huge. One of the biggest things that you can do is competitive research. So one of the things that I always start out with when I'm doing competitive research is I will just honestly Google search what I am trying to sell. So for example, if I was trying to sell a product like Weaves, right? I would Google search, healthcare communication software or healthcare touchless payments or, review software, something like that. And I would literally just look at so there's 2 sections when you search something on Google. There's the paid section and there's the organic section. So the first 2 or 3 of that page, you will always see ad at the first of the portion. And that would be what is called paid search. So those people are competitors because they're paying money trying to come up for that search. Then if you go below that, the next ones on that page are all organic. And you know that they're trying to do that because they're ranking for that search. So I always just Google search to see how much competition there is. You can also go to Google Trends. That's another area that is really awesome to show you what the trends are for certain searches and stuff like that. But then also if you scroll to the bottom, there's also affiliate searches. So Google will say, okay, people who search this also searched these words. Mm-hmm. And I will click on those words as well. And I'll just kind of go down this rabbit hole and really start to find out. And I'll get a Google Excel sheet and I will just start putting in businesses that I see in there. And then I'll click on those businesses and I'll go to their website and I'll look and see exactly what products they're selling. And that way, like, that's one of the cool things about Weave is if you went and did competitive research, you would find all these companies that did something that Weave did, but not everything that Weave does. And that is when you know that you found like a really good product fit is if you're offering things that other companies aren't and they're just bits and pieces. That is one thing that consumers really like. They love when you are making things convenient.
Mm-hmm.
And so by offering that convenience of multiple services that are all quality services, that really is a big benefit. So that is one of the biggest things is do competitive research. If you're doing a local company and not like an online company, then go and look at your competitors. Like Courtney Osborne in Business Growth Summit, she talked about this. This was a really cool segment as well. She talked about going and just staking out your competitor. Say you're doing like a cupcake shop and you want to open it up in, a certain city. Well, you find out who all the competitors are by Googling it and seeing exactly who is all coming up for cupcakes in your city, and go and stake out, see how busy they are, see, what people are coming out with. Like, you could get a really good understanding of, hey, I need to focus more on this because I see people coming out with this product or this cupcake a lot, or this pastry a lot. Really understanding what your competitors are doing is a big piece of research.
Right.
The second thing, sorry, go ahead.
Really quick, yeah. And just because there are competitors out there doesn't mean there's not market share for you, right?
Oh, yeah.
You think of like that cupcake example, in Utah at least, right? We've got 2 pretty big markets for frozen yogurt and cookies.
I know, it's wild.
And there's no lack of options for either of them. And so just because there's someone that's already existing in the market does not mean there isn't room for you. But it is a bit more of a challenge because you have to either be a little bit more niche or really do it better.
Yeah. Yep. And I think that's a question that you really have to ask yourself as you are doing your research is, do you want to be a Nordstrom or do you want to be a Walmart?
Yeah.
Like, are you wanting to really go into either, like when I say Nordstrom or Walmart, there's a few ways that you can take that. Are you wanting to be a higher end product that costs a little bit more? Or do you want to be a lower end product that is cheaper, but you can market it to more people?
Yeah.
You really have to start to really find your niche on that. And so that's going to go along with your competitive analysis is, what types of companies are doing what, and is there an opening? Like, is there not, in what you're trying to sell, is there not a higher end company? Is there not a Nordstrom? Or is there so many Nordstroms that there's a Walmart opportunity? So as you're doing that competitive research, you really need to look at that and see, where is that opening that I can go into, and then, like you said, with the niches, it's like, okay, this person is really focused on cupcakes. This person's really focused on, and I'm sticking with this pastry. I think it's because it's like the afternoon and I'm a little like sugar low, but is this person doing cookies? Well, I'm going to go right in the middle and I'm going to do ice cream sandwiches or something like that.
Right. Or even so we found one pretty close to our house. That's not cookies. It's called brownies. Like, first brownie place I've ever been to. I was like, all right.
I need to go hit that up. Brownies and ice cream is like my favorite dessert. I love it. It makes me so chubby, but I love it. I'm just double fisting brownies and ice cream.
But you make a good point, right? Like, not just knowing like what your offering is, but like in understanding in that example, right, your metaphor of Nordstrom or Walmart, you also really have to start to define who your target audience is, what your buyer persona is. Yeah. And we've talked about this in a few episodes of the podcast. A few different people have been really adamant about this. Like, be specific. And I know Courtney Osborne also talked about this in her Business Growth Summit video of being specific about who they are. What sort of characteristics are you looking for in someone that would be purchasing your product or service?
Yep. Yeah, personas is actually the next. You led me perfectly into what my next piece was, is personas. Like, really diving into who you're trying to target. So as a marketing person, I mean, this is something that I work with every day. Like, so my team is in charge of marketing to certain industries, right? And you need to understand who you're targeting in that marketing. And so one of the companies that I follow a lot is digitalmarketer.com. And I actually would recommend their blog a lot, along with HubSpot's blog. When it comes to marketing, those are two of the best companies that give really good content around marketing, along with we actually have, I'm gonna plug us, because we actually have a lot of really good videos on marketing from our Practice Growth Summit, our Business Growth Summit, as well as our Weave Continuing Education series and stuff like that. So they're like, Digital Marketer has a really good asset that you can use as you are trying to figure out who your buyer is. And it's called, if you Google search Digital Marketer Customer Avatar Worksheet.
I'll also make sure to link it in the blog post.
Yeah, and I can give you the link to it. It's not only an article that talks about the importance of it and how to use it, it's also a sheet that you can actually download, and you can work through the personas of who you're trying to market. Yeah. So when I worked at a company called the Pedowitz Group, one of the things that, like, we were a consulting firm. And one of the very first things when we would go into these Fortune 500 companies is we would go over, what is your persona? And you'd be amazed at how many of these Fortune 500 companies had never done that.
Oh, man.
It was crazy to me. It was so eye-opening to me. And so that was why, that was like, we would physically go in and we'd sit in this boardroom with them, and we would walk through, like, okay, we've got Dave, the 45-year-old white male, like, he's the one that's going to buy this. And, you know, like, there's some persona aspects as you sit down, like, are they male or female? Are they, you know, 60s and older, 40s and older, or 20s to 40s? You know, what are they like? Are they a more active type of person, or are they, you know, it all depends on what you're trying to sell. You've got to really nail down who that person is that you're trying to market, because what happens is you create your audiences when you're building out your marketing material focused on who your personas are. Yeah. So when you're doing your research, you really got to make sure that you are focused in on who your buyers are, because that's going to make your marketing that much better, and you're going to know who you need to go after.
Yeah, 100%. Real quick, I think a really good example, and I almost hate to beat this drum because I feel like it's beaten a lot, mm-hmm. And that's the Apple drum. Because a lot of people buy from them, so it's not like their buyer persona is really specific.
Yeah.
But it is specific in the sense that, like, especially with the really famous marketing ads that they did back in the 80s and 90s of Think Different.
Yeah.
You know, like, it's marketed to that type of an individual, and it could be a feeling or a mantra that you feel like these people would tie them together, that maybe an age bracket or whatever might not. Mm-hmm. You could lean on that as well.
Yeah, Apple, I mean, when it comes to marketing, Apple knows exactly who their buyer is. They know exactly who their personas are. Their marketing is on point always. So they are a great company to kind of mimic as you're, you know, I mean, obviously they're on like this other level, you know, but they really know, like, they're to the point now where it's just clockwork. They know exactly who to target, who to market to, what messaging they should do. And we'll hit more on that in the marketing section of this, but like they're awesome.
Yeah. Okay, well, we have one more before that section, and that is budget.
Yeah, budget. I mean, when you're building a business plan, like, this is business plan 101. What is your budget? Like, there's multiple areas that you can put budget, but I mean, the few that I'm thinking of is, okay, how much budget do you need for your product? Do you need a dev team that's going to dev that product out? How much is that going to cost? Do you have a physical product that you know, either need to get created and made in, you know, America, China, wherever you want to get it done? Like, is that a physical product, and how much is it going to cost to build that out? You know, then also, like, what is your marketing budget? a lot of people, they go just dive into sales and they don't really tie marketing in with sales. And I mean, obviously I'm a marketing and I'm a massive advocate for marketing, but if you have no brand awareness, then it's going to be really difficult for you to try to sell something that people don't understand what it really does
Yeah.
or what it can do. So that's the thing for me, is you really got to make sure that you are um, very smart when it comes to your budget and you know exactly what's happening with it. So for me, budget is a very big thing, and you really need to like sit down and be honest with yourself and say, okay, this is the most that I can spend here. This is the most that I can spend here. But I'll tell you right now, marketing is a very necessity spend when you're trying to get the word out about your product.
Yeah.
And we'll go over some some areas that you really need to have as a necessity when it comes to marketing.
Okay. And that's the next step, right?
Yeah, that's the next step. Is okay, now you figured out your budget, you know how much you're going to spend on product, you know how much you have to spend on marketing, how much you have to spend on sales, and so now you're moving into marketing. So when you're creating a brand, when you're creating marketing, you're creating authenticity, right? Like if 2020, or just the last 5 years, if there's anything that has been brought to the table for a company, it's authenticity. Like you have, like for us in Utah, this is where Weave is in Utah. You have this, you have a few companies that are just amazing at authenticity. There's a company called Cotopaxi. Like if you go into their store in the mall, it is just beautiful. Like they've created this like outdoor authentic feel as you walk into their store. And I have to give them props. Like they've done a really good job at creating this authentic brand. So like that's just one example that I have, but that is one thing. Like if you do not have authenticity, then you are not going to stand out in the world that we have right now. So that was number one. The next one is content and messaging. So I don't know about you, Casey, but like for me, content and messaging is a super important thing when it comes to marketing. What has been like your experience with like content and messaging? I'm curious before we dive into it.
Well, I mean, my background is in sales training and helping sales reps grasp onto words and illustrations to help them communicate an emotional point. Because as much as we would like to believe that we are logical beings and that we make logical and rational decisions, we don't.
You mean us humans don't make logical decisions? That's weird.
Hardly ever.
I thought we were perfect.
And so, but the thing is, you can't ignore that, right? You still need to appeal to that logic within each of us.
Yeah.
You have to lead with emotion. Messaging to that point is so important. My husband is an English teacher, and he often jokes with me, Casey, words mean things.
Yeah.
and choosing the right words when you're trying to articulate a point, sell a product, persuade someone, all of those things.
Yeah. I love your background on that, because it is true. Like sales, I mean, in sales, messaging is what gets you sales.
Yes.
Right? Like creating that emotion, creating that like pain, finding that pain point.
Yeah, pricking the heartstrings.
Yeah, exactly. Like, and that's what marketing is too. Just online, like online
and top of funnel. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Like that's when you're creating content, when you're creating messaging, how it works is you find that pain point, right? Like for us at Weave, I'm sorry, I just keep using this example, but for Weave, our pain point is people who need to be able to communicate with their customers. And so when we talk about what Weave can do, it's, hey, have the ability to communicate with your customers. In COVID, that was huge. Like people were at home. people were needing to update customers on, we're actually closed this week, we're reopening, like we're back to business right now. And that's what businesses are trying to do, is they're trying to communicate with their customers to be able to let them know that they're reopening. And
right, things change so rapidly that you need quick and easy ways to do that.
Exactly. And so that's the messaging, that's the pain point that we're focusing on. And then you talk about the benefit. So what is the benefit that you bring that will alleviate that pain? So messaging and content is a really big thing. Really understand what the pain point is and what the benefit is that you offer to alleviate that. The next thing would be ads. So depending on your budget, this is kind of what I wanted to go over with ads. And then it's a completely other topic in itself.
Yeah.
To just like talk about like the mentality behind ads and stuff like that. It's kind of the same as what we were talking about messaging. What's the pain point and what's the benefit when you do ads? Find those two and really touch on them. But depending on your budget. So when people come to me and ask me like, hey, what should I use for my budget? Well, I usually say, okay, if you have only $2,000 a month, you want to focus on Facebook ads. You have a very good ability to really, take those personas and leverage those within the audience that you can build out in Facebook Ads Manager. And so that is like the threshold that I say, 2,000 and lower, do Facebook ads. Honestly, you can run a campaign for, $100 to $500 a month on Facebook and get in front of a lot of people. I've had multiple people come to me and say, dude, I've been doing mailers for years. And I say, why?
I know. And they're expensive.
They're so expensive. So expensive. You can't track anything. And that's the thing that I love about online is.
Well, and then you typically end up offering a discount with them too.
Yeah. Yeah. That hook, that's actually one of the things I want to talk about. But your ROI on Facebook ads compared to mailers or these like physical things is much higher. And ROI stands for return on investment. So it's a great, and it's a great form to market through to get in front of people with that smaller budget. Anything 2,000 and above, depending on what your market is. So, part of our market is healthcare when it comes to Weave. So a lot of healthcare people are not on LinkedIn, but they do Google search for software. So that is one thing that we do not do like a whole lot of ads on LinkedIn, but we do a lot of ads on Google. And so understanding where your market is. If you do have people who will be on LinkedIn on a daily basis, like if you're marketing to me, I'm on LinkedIn a lot. I'm looking at articles, I'm reading stuff, but that's the thing. I'm a marketer. And so I enjoy LinkedIn because it's a way for me to gain knowledge. Mm-hmm. So understanding your personas and where your personas are is a big factor when you go to market. So anything 2,000 and above, I would say either do Google or do LinkedIn. But if you have like $4,000 or more, then split it and test. That, like as a business owner, testing is one of your best advocates because it's going to let you understand what is working and what isn't, and be smart about where you're putting your money.
Well, and the nice thing too, sometimes those things can be hard to test because you don't know exactly what's bringing people in, or the way of tracking it can be pretty difficult.
Yeah.
But I'm going to make a Weave plug here. We don't do this very often, but there's a way for you to have specific numbers with Weave to then put those numbers or associate those numbers with specific marketing efforts so that you know exactly this is the traffic I'm getting from this number that I'm putting on LinkedIn versus this number that I'm putting on a bus board or something, and know rather quickly which one's the more effective route.
Yeah. No, it's analytics is your best friend when you're a business owner, because that really is where, like, there's so many times where I've had people come to me and they have just been hemorrhaging money on ads and they've been putting in the wrong place. And so that's where the research really comes into play and really understanding, but then testing, like, test certain messaging, test certain personas, like some personas might do better with online ads compared to others.
Yeah.
But don't be afraid to test. Like that's where you get better. Like a lot of, you have to be open to testing, because if you're not, then you're not really going to find out exactly what is the best.
Yeah.
So don't be afraid to test. And really, like I always say, like, hey, when you're starting a new business, brand awareness is key. And online ads is a big area where you can get that brand awareness. And on average, people need to be touched through ads or emails or just interactions on your website 8 to 12 times. So those emails and those paid ads, those are a big area where you can have those touches come into play to be able to really indoctrinate people and help them to feel comfortable interacting with your company.
Yep.
So with paid ads, one of the things that is super important is a hook. Mm-hmm. And when I say hook, I mean an offer. As you're building up a brand, it really helps to have something that people, they are getting a deal, So, and sometimes, when you're really getting the ball going, sometimes that deal is going to make you a little uncomfortable. And actually there's a marketing panel. I'm sorry, I'm over Business Growth Summit and Practice Growth Summit. And so I've seen every single video. I sat in on every physical video. So things come to my brain as I'm talking, but there's a marketing panel from Business Growth Summit with some local marketers. And this is all free content. Like you don't have to pay for it or anything like that.
I'll link it all too.
Yeah, put the marketing panel in there. That is some of the best content I have sat through when it comes to marketing a business. Like they have amazing content in there. But they talk about, when you're creating a promotion, sometimes when you're trying to really get the ball going, it's going to make you a little uncomfortable to really like drive people's interest, but it is much cheaper to get somebody in the door and keep them as a customer, right? Like,
yeah, retaining a customer is way easier than new customer acquisition. Yep. Yeah.
Exactly. So if you feel super confident in your ability to keep customers, then do something that's going to make you a little uncomfortable, because that's going to drive interest. And then you're going to be able to retain that person and get that on the back end.
Right. And then lifetime value. Yep.
Exactly. So, have a promotion when you're running ads, or when people get to your website, have a promotion that piques interest, because people love, like right now, Weave is offering a $50 gift card to DoorDash if you do a demo with us. That's our promotion. And one, we love it because we're helping out the local companies, the restaurant industry that got hit really hard with COVID. And two, it makes somebody happy. Like, hey, just come listen to what we have to say, and you'll get $50 out of it to be able to feed your family or your office or whatever you want to do.
Yeah.
So, yeah, so those are kind of the pieces that I wanted to cover in marketing. It's kind of a high level thing, but those are some really good topics that I would really sit down and look over as I'm, building out my marketing plan inside of my business plan.
Right. And I mean, this is a crash course on launching your business in 3 days. So there will definitely be room to revisit this topic. But
we can go a lot deeper.
Yeah. Yes. Anyway, thank you so much. You gave us a lot to not only digest, but work through and reference some good other resources as well that will be in the blog. So thanks again, Jake.
Yep. Thanks for having me. I super appreciate it.
Yeah. Thanks for listening to that episode of Weave Connected. Make sure to hit subscribe down below so you get notified of any time we add a new episode. We'll catch you next time.